Top Notch family, what is going on? So, in today's video, we are going to be doing a Golden State Warriors offseason preview and kind of talk about like what's next for this team after getting eliminated in the second round to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, before we do start today's video, if you guys enjoy NBA content, we do upload every single day. And our goal this year is to upload for 365 days. And I couldn't do it without you guys. So I just want to say I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Continue to keep liking, keep sharing, keep subscribing, all that good stuff. And let's get back in today's video. So we're going to first start talking about how the regular season went and all that other stuff, right? So the Golden State Warriors this year was a 7th seed. So they were a playing team, but with a record of 48-34. Their conference record was 29-23. Home record was 24-17. So was their away record, and they finished off the season 7-3. Now, the Golden State Warriors were a very interesting team, right? To start the year without Jimmy Butler, they were amazing. Then they started going into a slumping mode, and it got to the point I was like, what's going to happen with this team, right? Because they're around like that 10th seed. Then they made that big move to acquire a player like Jimmy Butler, and they were pretty much unstoppable when Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler were on the court. They still had to get into the playoffs. Obviously, they didn't. They got into the play-in, but they still won their first round matchup against the Houston Rockets, and it just shows you how experienced the Warriors are, right? You're going against a very, very fast, young Houston Rockets team, athletic, but the Golden State Warriors always had Steph Curry, Jimmy, and Dre, and I always had confidence of them winning that series. Then they match up with the Minnesota Timberwolves, and yeah, maybe it could have been different if Steph Curry was there. Maybe it could have still been going on, right? I still think Timberwolves win this series. I think they're just a better team, but it possibly could have went to 6 or 7. Like I said, it's very unfortunate that Curry had to deal with this injury, and now the Golden State Warriors are gone. Now, what we're going to talk about also, too, is who stepped up the most during the Steph Curry absence, because that's like the big thing that's being discussed right now, right? So we all know Curry led the postseason in points. Now, your second leader was Jimmy Butler. Now, in my opinion, I don't think Jimmy Butler did enough stepping up or playoff Jimmy to help this team win at all. And obviously, they didn't win a game ever since Steph Curry went out. And I think that's kind of sad because you paid Jimmy Butler all this money. You traded for him. You didn't give up too much, but he's getting paid $50+ million, and he can't win you one game without Steph Curry. That is kind of concerning to me, right? Jimmy Butler's only going to get older. He's not going to get better. I don't think playoff Jimmy has it really into him. Maybe I'm wrong, but from what I've seen, I didn't really see too much, right? I'm seeing a declining Jimmy Butler. Now, the positive note I will say is players that stepped up was Kuminga. You know what I mean? Kuminga was on a lot of DNPs, and they had to put him in the rotation because Curry's out, and he had some big moments. He's their third leading scorer, averaging 15 points a game. Pod struggled. Buddy Hield had good games, then some bad games. Draymond Green being typical Draymond Green. Moses Moody didn't play his best. Gary Payton, and then it gets kind of worse from there. Now, the Golden State Warriors do have a lot of questions to ask, right? Going into the free agency, and they're even their own free agents. As you see, it's 9 free agents. So you have Pat Spencer. Maybe you bring him back, maybe you don't, right? Then you got Quentin Post. He was a big part of the rotation during the regular season and even in the postseason until the end, pretty much, where he's getting a lot of DNPs. But maybe you bring him back. He's a stretch 5 that can spread out the floor. He's still fairly young, only 25 years old. Gary Payton, in my opinion, he always holds – like I always like Gary Payton. You know what I mean? He deals with injuries, but I feel like he just belongs to the Golden State Warriors. Like, he's just a Golden State Warrior guy. I know some Warriors fans want to get rid of him. Maybe they bring him back. Maybe they don't. But I personally, if I'm the Warriors, I'll bring him back. Kevon Looney is completely washed. I'm going to be honest with you. I'll move on from Looney, even though the Warriors desperately need size because they're very, very small. They have no bigs on their roster. But I think it's time to move on for Kevon Looney. He didn't play much this year. The Warriors got to let him go. So I'm bringing back Gary Payton. You bring back Quentin Post. I'm letting go of Looney. Now, this came out earlier today. They're going to be exploring sign-in trades for Jonathan Kuminga, and I think that's the best option for both teams. It didn't really end well for Kuminga. Well, it did end well for Kuminga, but both sides, it's just a lot of like back and forth, and I just think he needs a new home. He's still fairly young, has a lot of potential, 22 years old, so it'll be interesting to see what they can possibly get out of a Kuminga trade. Kevin Locks, Braxton Kean, and Teron Armstrong. So those are their free agents. The big ones, of course, is Kuminga, Looney, and Gary Payton, and you can even throw Quentin Post in there. The next thing is what's really the time frame of this organization? Like, You know what I mean? Like, and when I say time frame, when we look at the team payroll, Steph Curry's 37 years old. He's coming off a hamstring injury, right? I mean, after this year, he's making 59 and $62 million, going to be around 38, 39 years old. So is your time frame when Curry's 39 years old and Jimmy's 37? Is that what it is? Like in 2026, 2027, do you go out here and compete? Because if you notice, their top three guys are on contract to 2026, 2027. So even Draymond would be 37, Curry would be 39, and Jimmy would be 37. So is it the end of the Warriors at 26, 27? Do you start it early? Because I mean, I don't think this core gets it done. Unfortunately, I just don't see them winning a championship, right? So that's the big question too. Is like obviously they're gonna run it back with the big three. You made the big move for Jimmy Butler. It's gonna be a full off season. It's gonna be a full season with Jimmy and Steph and Dre. And maybe they're not in that playoff position. Well, the play in position and they get in that top six. So we'll see. And if you are gonna do it, you gotta fill your team up with good players because you have a lot of free agents and stuff like that. Also, even Buddy Hield, he's gonna be here for 2027, 2028, right? Free agent, free agent, free agent. Moses Moody's 22. He had some bright moments, but also had some bad moments. Pods had some good moments and some bad moments. Trace Jackson Davis was in the rotation early in the year, fell out. So they really need to fill this team up with a lot of good free agents. And, when we look at their draft situation, I'm going to be honest with you, it's not the best. It's just not. Like this year, they're running with a second round pick. You know what I mean? The 40th one pick. Let's see what they can possibly get out of it. We'll see. And then what I will show you on the screen too, shout out to Bobby Marks. He did this graphic, kind of breaks it all down for the Golden State Warriors. So this is obviously their draft pick. The projected salary is 171, tax threshold 187, first apron, second apron. This is his projected starting five, and you could tell it's very, very small. I don't see this happening. I don't see Dre playing the five and Jimmy playing the four. I don't think that's the best decision. And you're really going with what? 6 players? That's what it looks like because all your free agents right here. You know what I mean? So the Warriors are going to have a very interesting offseason. I personally think they just need to go get a big. If that's possibly a trade, if that can work with the Jonathan Kuminga trade, possibly try to do a swap. Because, like I said, you got to let go of Kayvon Looney. You're bringing back Quentin Post, but there's no way he's going to be your starting center. And if he is, there's a big problem with that. You don't really have too much trust in Trace Jackson Davis. So we'll see, man. Warriors are in a very interesting spot. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys do, continue to keep liking, keep sharing, keep subscribing. We are going to be doing all offseason previews for every single team that does get eliminated. So obviously, there's teams that didn't make the playoffs. So out of those teams, let me know in the comment sections what team do you guys want me to do next. But once again, love y'all, appreciate y'all, and hopefully, you guys enjoyed today's video. And your boy is out. Peace.